Välkommen till Edtech Tuesdays. En intervjupodd om innovation, lärandekultur och teknologier för lärande. Vi samtalar med svenska och internationella innovatörer, investerare, thinkers och doers som utmanar status quo. Podden produceras av Snabbfoting, en ledare inom kontinuerligt lärande och digitala plattformar.
Chris Fenning, time again to visit Edtech Tuesdays. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much. I wish I could be actually there in Sweden because you have all the snow, which is a wonderful thing at this time of year. But you know what? I will settle for being here on video with you. And this is how so many of us communicate these days, particularly when we're at work.
Absolutely. Online meetings, for example. This is one sort of online meetings as well. This episode of Edtech Tuesdays about effective meetings. I have written your book, Chris, and also been a beta reader. Fantastic. Effective meetings, great results, less pain every time. And it's so nice to read your books because they have a shorter format than many other books that I read. You see, I have some books in the background and simple, clean. Can you say something about yourself?
I can. First of all, thank you for that introduction and for being part of the creation process of this book. So I don't know if everybody would have caught what you said there. You were a beta reader. That means Eva was a test reader of the book before it came out and helped contribute to the ideas that are in it and catching some of those mistakes before it went to print. So thank you so much for being part of that. It really makes a difference to the end product.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned, sorry, please go ahead.
No, but it's fantastic to read books before everybody else and contribute with feedback and make the product better. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a sneak preview. You got to see it before everybody else. And so you asked me to say a little bit about myself. One of the things that, if people listen to a previous episode with us chatting, they would have heard some of my background. But to give a short recap, I was originally an engineer and I spent 20 years working in multiple countries and companies and industries before transitioning into teaching business communication skills. And I focus on everyday fundamental skills that make a difference in our work. Things like writing effective emails, getting to the point, giving status updates, and, as we're going to talk about today, running and participating in effective meetings. And through all of this, there's a point that you made earlier as well, which is my books are short and practical. And that is a core value for me. And it's how I show up in a lot of my work and a lot of the contributions I make to my field. And that is to focus on what's practical, to keep it as short as possible. And so for everybody who is listening to this or watching it on YouTube, my goal is to help you get to the solution to your problem as quickly as possible.
And you really do that. It's fantastic. I have pinpointed 2 or 3 tricks from your book. You don't need to read the full book. It's enough to find out 1 or 2 or 3 that really matters.
Yes. Oh yes. There's being able to take the parts of the book that solve the particular problem that you are facing as a reader. That's really valuable. I don't like books where I have to read the whole thing to get to the value at the end. There should be value on every page. Otherwise, that page doesn't belong in the book.
But that sounds heavy with value on each page. But I understand what you mean, Chris. And you are fantastic too. A good communicator that can help us. You help a lot of people with the communication as well. So that's fantastic. And if we go I will ask you a question as a starter. If you are a fly on the wall, in which context do you place yourself and listen and see what happens?
Oh, so I have. This is not a work-related situation, so my answer to this is very personal. There is something happening in the Orkney Islands at the moment, which are very small islands off the coast of Scotland, part of Britain, and there is some archaeology happening there where they've announced a big find. They found something hidden underground using 3D imaging that goes through the ground, but they're not telling anybody what they found. And there's going to be a big announcement in maybe May, June next year. And they say this is changing the whole understanding of that region and of those islands. And it's a groundbreaking discovery. I want to be a fly on the wall in the room where they realized what they found. And I want to know what it is, but I also want to see the shock, the excitement, the what is this moment that those archaeologists had. That would be my ideal fly on the wall moment just now.
Fantastic. When I ask this question to some other guests, it's often workplace related or futuristic or nice to hear your story and your choice here.
It's very different.
Yeah. Maybe we are so focused on our work life. Here in Sweden, it's very important with work-life balance. But in some way, it's like in the mind, we are much on the work. So when I ask the question, it's simple for people to relate to workplace situations.
Yeah, and it's topical for the show, so it would make sense. But hopefully we haven't deviated too much. But this has been in my mind as I want to know what it is. They've really triggered my that feeling of interest and tell me, don't make me wait. But I will have to, like everybody else, I will have to wait 6 months to find out.
But details like this, I think it increased, it's more authentic, increased the value of the relation in meetings. We will speak about meetings, effective meetings today, but also see people behind. What happens when we not are at work? What happens in our head? That is also quite interesting to deepen the relations, and that's also part of the value in meetings.
It is, and this question comes up a lot, particularly when I train. People say, "Well, what about the human interaction part of a meeting?" And some people fall on one end of the spectrum, which is there should always be social elements to a meeting. And other people go at the other end of the spectrum and say, no, meetings should be all business, get to the point, get on and do it. And I'm in the middle. I believe that both of those are appropriate. And there's a guiding principle that we can use to understand when it is appropriate to do one or the other of these extremes. And it comes down to urgency of the topic and purpose of the meeting. If a company has just lost its biggest client and is going to have half of the revenue that it expects next year and pulls the team together in a crisis meeting to work out what to do, the first 15 minutes should not be let's talk about the weekend, how are your pets, how are the kids. That's high urgency. High urgency, focus on getting to the point very quickly. On the other end, if your part of the meeting is bringing the team together because you all work in different places and you're physically gathering for the first time in a while, then yes, some social aspect, some lower level of intensity, a little more social, all of that makes more sense. So the guiding principle is the more urgent and important the topic, the quicker you should get into the work. And generally, given the amount of meetings that we have, something like 83% of people in the US spend a third of their week in meetings. If every one of those meetings has lots of social interaction, that's a considerable amount of time spent on the social side. And there are definitely benefits, but there is a work cost to that. And not many people have enough time to spend 3 or 4 hours a week on the social side in meetings. So that's why there should be more focus on getting to the point.
And if we go to meetings and think about costs of bad meetings, we have, as you mentioned, many meetings on the workplace. What does this cost?
Well, there's an actual cost, and then there are less tangible but still relevant costs. So the actual cost of the meeting is the salary, the amount that each person is paid, multiplied by the amount of time spent in the meeting. So for very low pay employees, if they were on, I would hope it's more than $10 an hour, but there are many people who are on 10, call it $20 an hour, 10 people in a room for 1 hour, $20 an hour. That's a $200 meeting. It's not a huge amount of money, but if that happens every day, well, that's $1,000 a week. That's $50,000 a year spent on a recurring hourly, weekly meeting. What could those people be doing instead?
Yes.
If they weren't in that meeting? So you can calculate the cost. The less tangible things about having people in meetings all the time are they're not doing other work. Most of the work we do is by ourselves. Maybe in a team, but we add value usually doing the deep work ourselves. If we're in a meeting, we're not doing the job that we're paid for, usually. We're also, if we're the ones organizing a lot of meetings, we're frustrating other people. So here's a cost that isn't talked about very often as an actual impactful cost, but it's the level of frustration that is created by being in so many meetings. And there was a study done, I just want to make sure I get the actual number for this. So MIT Sloan did a study, and then they did something in combination with FlowTrace, which is a big online meeting collaboration tool. So they have a lot of data about meetings. And their stats were 92% of people spend time multitasking during meetings, and the level of frustration caused 75% of people said they were frustrated by having to be in a meeting. So employee satisfaction is going down when meetings go up. And the last piece I'll say on this is the evidence for the impact comes when you cut meetings out. A number of companies have tried having meeting-free days. So days of the week where there are no meetings allowed in the company. And the results from that are just astonishing. This is the MIT piece that
now I'm curious. What does the study tell?
So if you had 2 days a week with no meetings in a company, what do you think would happen in terms of productivity?
2 days free from meeting. 5% increase?
Okay. 71%. 71% increase in productivity.
Okay.
That's crazy, right?
Wow.
These are reported figures. It's much bigger. You might think, well, of maybe a 10-20% because you're still going to do work on those days, and you've still got other time on those days where you'll actually be working. No, 71% increase.
Okay.
Another surprising stat on this. So one of the things that meetings are described as being beneficial for is they enable collaboration and cooperation between teams.
Okay.
So what do you think happens when you take 2 days a week with no meetings? Does cooperation go up or down?
You ask different difficult questions.
I know, it feels like a test, right? So
Yeah,
I
live here.
thought it would go down. My
Yeah.
initial response when reading the question was, oh, well, of course it will go down because people aren't together. No, cooperation was increased by 43%.
Oh, that's much.
It's it's so counterintuitive,
Mm.
but this is what people are reporting. And the stat that stands out above all others, I've kept it to the end, is removing 2 days of meetings per week. So 2 days with no meetings. The level of micromanagement that people were reporting was cut in half. People felt less micromanaged by their bosses when 2 days of meetings were free. And there's a whole bunch of other things as well. I won't turn this into a stats lesson, but these kind of results are counterintuitive and significant. A 40+% increase in productivity, cutting micromanagement feelings in half. That is a huge employee engagement win.
Yeah,
Because people
absolutely.
hate being micromanaged.
Yes. Hmm.
And then an increase in cooperation. Tell me a company who doesn't want staff to cooperate between teams.
Yeah.
Turns out cutting out, meetings improves that. It's pay attention. Anyone who's listening, pay attention and consider even 1 day a week with no meetings allowed does produce results that get close to these numbers.
Thank you, Chris. That fantastic info. I will continue to read even more studies about this and learn more because that sounds great. We have so many meetings here in the Nordics, in Sweden here where I work and live. And I often meet very large organizations. So if I meet an organization with 10,000 people, then I just can calculate quite quickly how much frustration, how much costs, and I work with workplace culture. So that is also part of the workplace culture with the meeting culture. So it's really important to discuss this and help organizations with meeting culture. Absolutely.
Yes, and I love that angle that you're looking at it from the culture side, because we've become certain. And I've worked all around the world. This is true in France, in the UK, in the Netherlands, in the US. I've got a lot of direct experience in those countries, and we've come to a stage where, I need to solve a problem. I'll schedule a meeting. We need to, there's a crisis, schedule a meeting. I need to give someone an update, schedule a meeting. Everything is done. Like, it's our default position is now, how do we get something done? Well, step one is schedule a meeting.
And about the decisions, you need to have meetings for making decisions and add more and more people. In our culture, it is like consensus. We need to have quite many people that are in the decision making. So we need to collect them together and have everybody on place.
Oh, can we talk about decision meetings for a moment?
Absolutely.
Decision meetings are important because making decisions enables people to know the direction they're going, focuses the work. Decisions are very, very important. But when we do them in meetings, there's often a significant gap. And the gap is knowing how to make a decision in a meeting. What usually happens is, I need to make a decision. 7 people are involved. I'll invite them to the meeting. I'll tell them the purpose of the meeting is to make a decision, and then we talk. And that's a terrible way to make a decision. If we're making a decision in a meeting or bringing people together, the first steps are, what are the activities we need to do? So what is the decision? That's the first thing. So the purpose of the meeting is to make the decision. By the end of the meeting, the output that we'll have from the meeting is the decision. And to get there, there are a number of specific activities that need to happen.
Mm.
Presentation of the options,
Mm.
a review and comparison of the options, some kind of prioritization or decision criteria, and then the actual decision being made. Those are distinct activities that are often missed.
Mm.
And from the decision meetings that I experienced, and I've been in hundreds of them over the years, maybe 5% included clear decision criteria as part of that meeting. So we bring people together and we just talk for an hour and don't make a decision, or we rush it at the end and make an unsatisfactory decision, because people forget you need criteria. What are we comparing things against? How are we actually going to choose this?
And it could end in that meeting with a no decision at all, and you need to schedule more meetings. Another meeting. But I really like you introduced the TPO, topic, purpose, output, and that is really one of the great tips in your book, Chris.
Yeah, I snuck that in there, didn't I?
Yes. Is it something you that listen today or watch today, the TPO that Chris introduced in his book, that's superb.
It is the basis of...
the basics of the ground rules for a meeting. Yeah.
Those three words, topic, purpose, and output.
Yeah.
I almost said something else then.
Output, yeah.
Topic, purpose, output.
Yeah.
Those three things will improve every part of the meeting process.
Yeah.
From before the meeting, while you're preparing, when you're introducing the meeting, running it, ending it. All of those are improved when you have a clear topic, purpose, and output.
Absolutely.
So can I take a minute just to explain what each of those are?
Yeah, absolutely. Do that.
All right. So the topic is sort of the general theme of the meeting. It could be the project that you're working on, or a particular problem. So I might say the topic of this, of one of our earlier meetings, was to prepare for the podcast. And the purpose of the meeting was to clarify the questions and arrange the time and logistics. And the output of the meeting was we would have a list of questions and we'd have a date and time for the recording. So that's very specific what we're going to leave the meeting with. So the topic is broad, but it draws a box or a boundary around what you can and can't be talking about. And the purpose shows you the value. Why are we here? What are we hoping to achieve? And then the output is the actual valuable thing. It's what the meeting is going to produce. Could be a decision, could be a list of options, could be an updated document, could be a date and time for another event.
Yeah.
But there is something specific that every meeting should produce, and that is the output. And when you have topic, purpose, and output, you can then say, well, who are the people I need to invite? Can they and will they contribute to the purpose? Do I need them to produce the output? What are the activities? We talked about activities with decision making. The purpose is to make a decision. What are the activities I need to do in the meeting to achieve that purpose? And then in the meeting, you can stay on track if you know what you're trying to produce and how much time you have to produce it. You can tell if a conversation is going off track if it doesn't still relate to the purpose or doesn't help produce the output. So these three things are crucial to making every step of a meeting easier. And in the book, I go into more detail about how to use each of these in each stage of the meeting. Not going to do that now because I'll end up just reading the book out to you. But it's still such a simple framework that makes such a big difference.
Yeah, but I think that is the most important. Rule number one. If a meeting goes off track, what is your best advice to the listeners? I think that causes lots of frustration. I'm quite frustrated when I see it turns into the wrong directions or flow away. Do you have a tips? What could
I
our
have a
listeners
few.
do?
The first thing to say is, if a meeting is going off track, it's not just the meeting leader who is responsible for bringing it back on track.
Good you say that, because that was something. Who is responsible? A meeting is full of people, so not only the leader.
Not only the leader, every single person in the meeting is responsible for helping keep it on track in two ways. The first is, let's make sure that we are not the person pulling it off track.
Yeah.
We should make sure that the things we're saying, the topics we're bringing up, the questions we're asking are relevant and related to the meeting topic. They contribute to the meeting purpose and they help us produce that meeting output. So don't be the problem. The second thing is, if we see a problem, we see that somebody else is bringing up a topic that is related to but not directly relevant to the meeting purpose or producing the meeting output, then don't assume the leader has noticed. Don't wait for the leader to fix that. Any one of us can politely bring the conversation back on track. And the way we can do this is by asking a question. So don't say, "Oi, Dave, you're not talking about something that's relevant. Shut up. We'll get back onto the topic." Don't do that. That's very rude. We shouldn't do it. You might feel it, but don't say that. What we should do instead is say, "Hi, Dave. Thanks for letting me interrupt just for a moment. I can't quite see how this topic relates to the thing that we're producing today. I might be missing something. Can you help me understand?" And then Dave will say either, "Oh, yeah, here's how it relates." In which case, great, I've learned something. Turns out the meeting wasn't off track and I've learned a new thing. Or Dave's going to say, "Oh, yeah, sorry, actually, it's not directly related." And at that point, either the meeting leader or you, as a participant, can say, "Should we talk about this outside, or is it something we need to talk about now so that we can achieve the purpose of this meeting?" And then you're in an intelligent discussion about whether the topic is relevant, and that brings the conversation back. And even by mentioning the purpose and the output, you bring the focus of the room back onto the original intended purpose and output.
And that's great. And it's part of the meeting culture, the company culture, also to speak up and stop. Okay, I don't understand. Is this really relevant for the moment? So, and help the meeting back to the schedule and agenda and the TPO again. So, very
And if you're
important.
nervous about doing it, I guarantee, I shouldn't guarantee, that's a bold statement. I strongly believe that if you think the current topic is not relevant, other people in the meeting think so too, and other people will be grateful that it's coming back on track and getting to be relevant.
Otherwise, frustration, cost of the meetings, etc. And I think also then people start to multitask, do other work, scroll in the mobile, or something like that. So it's it's important. I see you have something.
The multitasking. So particularly in virtual meetings, but not just in virtual meetings. This happens in real ones too. I read a stat that I had to go back and check it because it just didn't seem believable. So in virtual meetings, 90-something% of people said they multitasked, 92, 93%. But the things they were doing is what really surprised me. About 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 people were reading the news or being on social media. But 3 out of 10 people admitted to just reading books while in meetings. And that blows my mind. Like how unimportant is your contribution, or how distant must you be from the purpose of the meeting to feel that you can just read a book? Like, that's total disassociation from
that's quite sad for the meeting leader that a person do something else that way.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
here's my
signal, this
suggestion.
is so boring, so I can do this instead. I can go and drink coffee or be somewhere else too.
And they're not even multitasking on another piece of work. They're just reading a book. So my suggestion is, if anyone listening to this feels the need to read a book in a meeting, pick up Effective Meetings, read this one, and make your meetings better.
Absolutely. Do you have any more hacks or practices for the listeners today? What can they do to improve their meetings?
Well, let's say if we were going to do one thing to improve a meeting, it's before the meeting begins. And take more time to prepare. And I don't mean take half a day to prepare for a half-hour meeting. I mean take 2 minutes to prepare for a half-hour meeting. Because while the meeting might only be half an hour, if you've got 6 people in it, that's 3 hours worth of collective time you're taking from others. So in that preparation, consider what is, the topic should be obvious, but what is the real purpose? What is the output that we want to produce, and how am I best going to get there? Make sure you're inviting people, only the people who are necessary to contribute to that purpose and output. Take a moment to think about the activities. Anyone listening to this who's going into a meeting to make a decision this week, make sure you've got clear activities for that decision. Are there decision criteria? Do you know how you're going to compare the options that are available? Get specific. Doesn't take much. Quick internet search. Crikey, even ask ChatGPT or whatever your favorite AI tool is. What are some activities I could use in this meeting to achieve a particular purpose? Do that work. And then send a reasonable invite. So this is way more than one thing. I realize I'm packing a lot into the answer.
You have so much behind here, so you are so excited, Chris.
I am, because it makes such a difference. I know, as a kid, I dreamed about growing up to be a geek about meetings. No, this is not what I expected to be excited about.
Was it why I heard you told me you were invited to 23 meetings at the same time. Is it
that was a
meeting
day.
geek?
Yes. That was my low point.
Yeah. How could you select the most important one? Which was best? How did you select
a relevant
one?
Question.
Yeah. Which had a preferred?
That's when I just read a book for the day.
Yeah.
So you're right. There was one day where I was invited to 23 meetings, and some of them were an hour, some of them were half an hour, but many were overlapping. And it's very difficult to switch between meetings. And it's also difficult to choose which of those 23 did I go to. I think I ended up going to about 11 of them. I managed to sort of get 30-minute back-to-back meetings. But the invitation was critical to being able to make that decision. And for quite a few of the meetings, I didn't go to them because the invitation was blank. There was no information other than the location and the time.
Yeah.
That's not an invitation, that's a summons. You get that from the police or the courts when you have to turn up. Be in courtroom B at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we've culturally accepted that we can just demand people come to a meeting. Imagine I came to your desk and I said, Ava, be in conference room 2 at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And then I walk away. And I don't give you any information about why or what we're going to do. You can't prepare. How would you feel if I did that?
Myself, I will be a bit nervous if but be there 2 o'clock, and yeah, I like to prepare and understand what is the context, what would we like to do, the output in the meeting. So
Yeah.
frustration, yeah.
I feel similar. I go to the nerves. One of my defaults is, what did I do wrong? Oh, am I in trouble?
Am I in trouble?
What's
Yeah.
happened? What do I need to prepare
What
for?
have I done?
Yeah.
Why do my boss call me and have a meeting tomorrow?
Exactly. And it could be
in
to
short
celebrate.
notice. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Short notice. How
turns out
urgent? It's
they want to give you a
urgent.
promotion.
Yeah.
And so no, we wouldn't do it in person. It's incredibly rude. It produces all these anxiety things, but we do it in practice. So for anyone listening, go and check that your invitations include useful info. And if you're wondering what to include, you've probably guessed by now I'm going to say topic, purpose, and output.
Yes.
3 bullet points. That's it. And if that's the case, people can then look at 2 meetings that have come at the same time and say, which one can I add the most value to? Which one am I most relevant for? Which is most important to my work? Which one came from my boss? Those are factors as well. But without any information, we can't compare these multiple demands on our time. So having a good invitation to the meeting is crucial to enabling people to make an informed choice about whether to come.
And then if we connect that to the company culture with prioritization, priorities, then it's also helpful to have the topic, purpose, and output, because it's much more easier to have all these pieces together. It will help us save time, frustration, and lots of more better results.
Oh, yes. We did a bold thing. So when I was a leader in a project office, and project managers are the cause of many meetings. They schedule more meetings than anybody else, I believe. And it's part of the job, but it's also a frustration for others. And in our teams, we received so many blank invitations and so many conflicting invitations that for time, overlapping time, we put in place a new rule. And we said, if there's no information in the invite, we automatically decline it. And for 2 weeks, rather than just starting this and saying no to everything, we said for 2 weeks, we will reach out by phone or message to whoever has sent that invitation and ask them for the topic, purpose, and output. And we would tell them that future blank invites would be automatically declined. So we let people know. And as a manager in the team, I would have conversations with our key stakeholders to, we didn't surprise them with this. We told them why. We had this 2-week soft landing period and transition period.
Yeah.
And just by doing that, we got better quality invitations and fewer invitations, because it meant that people had to think about the purpose of the meeting before scheduling it. And it's bold to do this. It's bold just to say no. But we ended up doing that. And it was such a relief, because these things come in, you have 3 meetings at the same time on your calendar, and 2 of them are blank. Excellent. I'm going to the one that's not blank.
But now I'm curious, how many meetings do you say could be an email instead? Is it a large portion of meetings?
I'd love to have an accurate answer.
Yeah, because I really try to do a sync instead of sync in meetings. But okay, it depends on the purpose of the meeting. So it relates to what you say.
Yeah, it depends on the purpose.
Yeah, but I think that it's like vad heter det? Like a first default mode for people. We do a meeting, as you said before. You meet someone and can we do a meeting? So here in Sweden, especially, it is a default mode to book a meeting or to book a lunch or a coffee and discuss together. but it
Yeah. Hey,
can
can I
be.
just pick your brain? It's horrible. And
Yeah,
it feels nice. They want to.
it
I
is
feel
our
special because
culture
they
here,
want me. Oh,
but it takes a lot of time. But okay, relation is important here, but I think we can solve it in other ways.
yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. So how many, to get to the question, how many meetings could be an email? There isn't a clear answer to that. It's more than zero. And
It
so
is. It is.
anything that we can do to not have the meetings, a way to, there's a simple sort of set of questions that we can ask ourselves to say, should this meeting be a meeting or not? And the first one is, does it need other people's input?
Yes.
And if it doesn't need other people's input and it's just the delivery of information, that could probably be an email or a recorded video or an audio message. It doesn't have to be an email.
Yeah.
Record a quick video, send a voice note, put it in a document. Those are other methods to deliver information. So step one, does it need other people's input? If the answer is no, probably doesn't need to be a meeting. The second thing is, if it does need input, does it need everybody to provide input at the same time? If the answer is no, it doesn't need to be a meeting. For example, you want to come up with ideas, or we want to come up with a list of issues for a project in the risks and issues stage. So we want to come up with a list of risks and come up with a list of issues. Does that need to be a meeting, or can 7 people contribute to a shared document? Doesn't need to be a meeting. So, and the other thing is, does it need to be real time? Because if people can contribute, can they contribute in their own time? Again, that shared document, they don't all need to be together. So think about those things. If there's no input, if the input doesn't all need to happen at the same time, doesn't need to be a meeting.
I have a role if it's sensitive, like conflicts, etc. Then it is the best format is one-on-one meetings. A
Yes.
meeting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a great rule. The higher the level of emotion, or the higher the emotional impact of the topic of the discussion, the more it should be face to face. The obvious example is if you're letting somebody go, firing someone from their job, that should be face to face. And if you can't do in person, then face to face on video, and then a phone call, and then some written medium is the worst way to do that.
Phone call or written media, that sounds terrible.
It is, but we see that. I mean, it's a lot better than what happened at Twitter. People turned up at the X office and their passes didn't work. That was how they found out they didn't have a job. I mean, that's terrible.
That's terrible.
That would have been better as a
culture.
So the higher the level of emotional impact, the more face-to-face, the more human it should be, the fewer the people involved, so the smaller the number of participants, and try and make that in person.
In person. And if you go from in person to how new technologies like AI, how can that support the meeting culture or effective meetings? What do you want to add there?
There are some upsides. There's a lot of downsides to online meetings, but there are some upsides too. We save time walking from meeting rooms, or we get people who are in different physical locations together.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. We couldn't do this 20 years ago. 10 years ago, WebEx was available for this, but you'd spend half the meeting on tech issues. But it's a great enabler of bringing people together and being able to see each other and not just be on a conference call with terrible quality audio. So there are a lot of plus sides. Some other benefits of having virtual meetings is if you have a meeting with multiple topics and those topics don't affect everybody, you can let people leave without it being disruptive. If you're in a meeting room and half the people get up and walk out, there's scraping of chairs, gathering of bags, people saying goodbye, it's disruptive.
Yes.
Online, click, done. And they can go. So you can manage those, what I call partial participants, a lot more easily in an online environment.
We can be better to leave meetings before it ends, etc. Otherwise, we start and multitask. They are frustrated because they understand we are multitasking. So I can see improvement there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes effort. There are a lot of downsides to online meetings, more than we have time to go into. But there are definitely some positives as well.
And I have seen a lot, it is like, what do you call it? AI assistants that take notes from the meetings. You can also send your AI assistant that could take the notes and do a summary afterwards, and that also
Yeah.
save us time.
Yes. Yeah. If you got two meetings at the same time and you can only be in one of them,
Yeah.
you can send your virtual assistant to at least report on the other one.
Yes, absolutely. What's the most important takeaways from today to the listeners, Chris?
Oh, I'd love to ask you that. So what of all the things we've talked about, what do you feel has stood out as something that would make the biggest difference to people?
I think we are on something with the TPO, topic, purpose, output. When I read your book, and I also attend quite many meetings, and I see so many unstructured meetings, sometimes no agenda at all. Why am I here today? So the TPO, topic, purpose, output, that really stands out. And when I read your book, it's also what you mentioned today. Who are in the meeting? Who's relevant in the meeting? Invite the right persons to the meeting. That's really, really important. So we not have like 20 people, everybody loves to stay from the first minute to the end, but it's maybe only important for 5 to 7 persons.
Oh, yes.
So we can
The ability to
save
forward an
so much.
invite.
Yeah. I think that is the most important, I think.
Oh, I love those two. Yeah, yeah. TPO, topic, purpose, output. It's the
Yes.
core of your planning, your prep, your introduction, keeping the meeting on track, your structure. That I fully believe that you've hit the nail on the head with the big takeaway there, because it enables you to do everything else.
Is it some sort of mindset shift that you see could be the biggest return for companies?
Um, I think for humanity, a mindset shift is it would be beneficial in so many ways, but it comes down to structure and consistency and having the discipline. So structure and discipline. TPO provides the structure, and the ways to use it are all covered in the book Effective Meetings. But we then need the personal discipline to use it. And the tools are available, but will we use them? Will we use them consistently? Will we apply them in the ways they're meant to be applied? That's what would make the biggest difference. So within a company culture, if a team or an organization as a whole can recognize the value in some of these methods, supporting each other to use them, pointing out opportunities to use them better or use them in the first place, doing those small steps will provide the returns for the companies. And of course, bring me in to provide training, get copies of the books for everybody. Those are great things to do as well. And then have those shameless self-promotion there, and then have
I need
those
to edit
conversations.
here. It's Christmas soon.
Give yourself the gift of Chris. I will come and do some training for your team.
Lovely. If you look 5 years from now, how do you think meetings evolve?
Oh, I love these future prediction questions, but they are getting hard to predict because of the pace of change with technology, socially, with job reductions happening because of AI or large language model introductions, I find it very difficult to predict what is going to be different. One thing that I know will be the same is human nature stays human nature. And our preference to default to the easiest option will remain. So we will still have meetings in 5 years. There will still be a lot of bad meetings in 5 years. But if
maybe
enough
less.
of us,
Yeah,
here's
sorry.
the but. If enough of us are willing to help improve the meetings we attend and the meetings that we lead, we can begin a snowball effect of helping others see the benefit of these methods, and at least produce a change and improvement in the environment that we're immediately working in. So we all have the ability to make it better, but do we all have the willingness? Let's find out.
Thank you. Great. Is it some guest you want to see here at Edtech Tuesdays?
I think I remember this question from the last time, and there's a couple of people. They have their own EdTech based podcast.
Yeah.
So they'll have good microphones. There won't be a problem there. And they run a show called the Minimalist Educator Podcast, and they're not only wonderful show hosts, but just lovely people. But they're also really good in the education space. So I think will be great relevance for your show. And it's Tammy Mazowski and Christine Arnold, and their show again is the Minimalist Educator Podcast. And I think they would make great guests. You'd be able to cover the range of topics you could get into would be fantastic.
Superb, fantastic. Time to round up for today. Can you say how can the listeners reach you?
Absolutely. My website is my name, so chrisfenning.com. LinkedIn is my social hangout, so come and find me there. Ask me any questions. I reply to everybody who gets in touch. And of course, my books are available wherever you like to buy books. So grab a copy at your local bookstore or go through various online retailers as well.
Perfect. Here we have the book. Fantastic. The listeners, this is the last episode for this year. We are back again in January. So share, listen, and subscribe to Edtech Tuesdays. Remember, meetings aren't just meetings. They are a mirror of your culture. And thank you so much, Chris. Lovely to do this conversation about this important topic. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me back on the show.
Du har lyssnat på Edtech Tuesdays, en intervjupodd producerad av Snabbfoting. Vi är ledare inom kontinuerligt lärande och digitala plattformar. Besök oss på snabbfoting.se för att läsa mer om framtidens lärande.